Welcome to Sovereign Alignment, The Awakening.
Claim your power to create your own reality. Be empowered to manifest your dream and live in a vibrant, healthy body.
Join us for this podcast every week for support and inspiration. There's a lot of videos going around on the internet right now.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are pretty freaky. I mean, if you watch them, I'm like, holy crap. You know, I think we need to understand that everything that we see is not true.
Yes.
And that we need to go inward and ask yourself, do I believe this? Because a lot of those videos are about those people's belief systems. And they're reflecting out of their belief system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And and their perspective.
Right. And that's what we talk about is changing perspective. And you and I were talking a little earlier about, the 3D, 5D, how we're rolling this out.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've got a lot of things around December 21st that have come in, that have been channeled in. And let's give them some information about what we were talking about earlier, about how do we stay in 5D? How do we shift out of 3D? Because I think it's everybody's automatic reaction is to shift back into 3D because that's what they know. Like, it's that hamster wheel, it's that perception that we've always had. And we continue to roll with that because it's easy, it's what we know, and getting out of it can be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you can't shift into 5D out of fear. You can't shift into 5D because you're afraid of 3D. It doesn't work that way.
Right. So why don't you talk about a little bit what we were talking about earlier? How do you stay in 5D? Because we're in 3D a lot. And there's a lot of 3D stuff going on in the earth as it's purging, right? So we're going through a huge purge on a 3D level. But what does that mean for us as 5D ascension beings?
Mm-hmm. So I am being told that from now until the end of this year, essentially, we need to disconnect from the drama of the 3D world because a lot of stuff is going to go on. A lot of stuff is going to change, and it's not going to look pretty. Okay, it's going to be very dramatic. It's going to be really ugly. It's going to be easy to get drawn into it. But we need to stay within ourselves. We need to take some time and some space to be in our being, essentially. And if we can do that from now until the end of the year, and it's constant, like as much time as you can spend inside your heart, the better off you'll be. But there's something special about December 21st where that 5D timeline, your 5D trajectory gets locked in. And so we need to practice between now and then staying in 5D so that when it's locked in, we're there. And if you get all wrapped up in the 3D drama of, there's all kinds of things that are going to go on. And I don't even want to get into it because it's literally irrelevant. It doesn't matter what all the drama is about. It doesn't matter. And there's going to be a lot because all of those old systems that are not going to transition to 5D are going to fall apart. That's what I mean by it's going to be kind of ugly. Some things will be really subtle and you won't notice the change, and some things will be really big and you will notice the change. But to continue to stay in your power, in your space, in your sovereign being is going to be really, really important for the next few months, especially with all the crazy that's going to happen around us.
Well, and I think if we're just really creating our reality, right? And that's more what the 5D is about, is that we get to create our own reality. If we're focusing on what do we want, even next year or January or whatever, we're focusing on good things, on what we want, how we want our life to be, then that will help project a different energy.
Mhm.
Other than, because we're actually then not caught up in all of the 3D drama of what's going on. So the more that we listen to that stuff, the more that we focus on that stuff, that's all of the laws of attraction, is that what we focus on, we create more of.
The part that's different between what you have been told and what I have been told is it's not about reaching for the future. It's about being in the now.
True.
4D is about time. 4D is about the past and the future. 5D is about now. You can't create while you're reaching for the future. That's a longing. That indicates a lack of what you don't have, because you're reaching for something that you want.
If you're
So you
creating
have to create in the now. So
Right.
staying now, being grateful for what you have now rather than reaching for something that you want later.
But
So for me, that's the difference.
You still can create
Yeah.
vision of what you want in the now.
Yeah, but you have to be now. If people sit and daydream about the future, that's staying in 4D. And that's fine. If you want to stay in 4D, that's how you're going to do it, right? It's about creating better. It's about 5D is different than that.
Well, and I think that most people coming out of 3D have to go, I mean, yeah, you can jump it, but there is a transition between 3D and 4D.
Because when you create in 5D, it's instant.
It's instant manifestation.
Correct. So there is no future. There is no past.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the difference between 4D and 5D, is playing with time. If you're playing with time, you're in 4D.
Because time still does exist in the fourth dimension, but it's just that it's not that important.
Yeah, 4D is time. It's the time dimension.
But in 5D, there is no time.
Correct.
It's like, and I think it's a really hard concept for people to get a hold of.
Right.
Because we live in a 3D world where I have to be to work at 9 o'clock. I have a client at this time, and that
it takes 5 hours to upload a video, right?
Well, there's that. Let's hope that doesn't, be consistent here. We're gonna move our videos into 5D.
Yes. See, we have to do that.
And I think a lot of that technology stuff too is part of that 3D energy.
Yeah, once we move into the quantum technologies, it will be more instant, for sure.
Yeah, and I can't wait for the quantum technologies. I'm like, can we have that now? So it's coming though, everybody, it's coming. And I know that some of you are going to freak out because we're going to learn that we're going to vote on this. We're going to vote from a computer, and everybody's going to go, well, how is that? How is that not controlled? And you got to trust the quantum system. And I always go out and do your research. There's plenty of research out there on the quantum system. Everybody's starting to talk about it now and how it works. And then all of your data is actually extremely secure. So
super secure.
Right. And it's quantum. The word is quantum. And anything in quantum, it's not hackable.
Right. It's right. So you can think of a centralized system, which there's like one hub, like a spider web. There's one hub and everything radiates out from that. In a quantum system, there's no one hub. There's like all these nodes all around that have equal importance, and they all have all of the records, and they're always comparing all the records. So if somebody hacks one, you'd have to hack all the nodes at the same time. And that's not possible. There's just too many of them. It's a decentralized system.
Right. But it's going to look, I have a feeling for some people, it's going to look like control.
Yes.
And that's not what it's about.
And if you stay in the 3D timeline, you will slip into that control side of it, and your experience will be about control.
Well, and it's about what your belief is in the now. So we had talked about how important it was that people start really working through their, what you call ish,
Yes.
as we move into the next year, right? So this time period right now is when it's of great importance that we really do what I call inner work. People are like, well, what is that? And
Yeah.
it's really the self-reflection of what do you believe
Yeah.
and why do you believe it? And is it possible for you to believe something different? And if we are creating our experience right now, then you have to see that your perspective has to shift or you're going to create more of the same. So if you don't like what you're experiencing, you have to shift your perspective. It's
Then
out.
stop experiencing it.
Yeah. It's,
I
you have,
mean, that sounds so simplistic, but that's the truth of it. Just stop experiencing it.
and I know people are going to go, well, how do you do that?
Right.
Right? That's the how. I think that's where the Ascension Toolbox comes in again.
Oh, absolutely. I am so excited to bring them the Ascension Toolbox. They are going to love it. This thing is life changing. So
Yeah.
the Ascension Toolbox is what I used 15, 16 years ago to really, really jumpstart my ascension plan. And it's something that I still to this day use all the time. All the time. It removes all the blocks. It clears the aura. It cancels and nullifies all vows and agreements that you made in past lives. I mean, it just clears the road so that your process is easy and there's a flow to it and an acceptance. There's a protection with it. There's an understanding. Oh, it's so cool. I can't wait to bring it to you
I
guys.
know. I'm so excited to start filming it next week.
Yeah.
We hope to have it to you by the end of September. That's our goal.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. We'll talk about it a little bit more as we go along.
And
But
I'm going to practice it on Brenda.
yep, we'll
Right?
see what happens,
See.
guys. It'll be interesting.
It'll be so cool.
I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. So
Yeah.
that'll be a cool thing. And I'll let you guys know exactly what happened for me. So we'll document it so that we can, give you some insight from somebody who I have not experienced it. And so it will be from my point of view. So I'm excited to do that too. I think that too is now, and we talked about that with the Ascension Toolbox too, that rewriting our soul contracts. And I think that this is a really cool time to be doing that because no longer from my experience, karma really is no longer.
No, it's not a thing.
And so in that process, it's important, I think, that we are able to rewrite that soul contract without all that ish, without all the garbage, without all the, connections and all of the.
At any time. At any time. You can rewrite it 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week if you want to.
Yeah. So
it's that easy.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to tell them about moving from 3D to 5D?
Just like before, it has to happen from a place of gratitude, from a place of joy. If those two components are missing, 5D is not accessible.
Yeah. And I know even with my clients, like I'm seeing them let go of stuff so easily now too, because it is a time when we are wide open to let go. We don't need to carry that baggage with us it's not, you can't carry it into 5D. You cannot. Right. You have to get rid of it now to ascend into that frequency, because it's a higher level frequency, and all of those old beliefs and patterns have to be released so that we can move into a higher frequency, because they're dragging us down. They're keeping us in the lower frequency, which is your 3D.
For sure.
Yeah.
People are burning more minerals right now than they ever have before. So boosting your mineral intake would be really, really important.
How do they go about that?
So I like ionic trace minerals are my favorite. You can find them on the Vibrant Well Care store if you want to see some examples of them, but basically anything mineral based, not synthetic minerals. They've got to be natural minerals. The other thing that I'm seeing people really need a lot of right now, a lot of emotion support, a lot of, you have to get away from the factory farmed foods,
Yes.
because there's a lot of drama and trauma that is instilled in those animals and those plants. I know we don't talk about plants having emotions
Yeah.
and feelings, but they're alive, just like we're alive. Okay. So getting away from all the trauma that's been instilled in the factory farm foods, because as soon as you put those in your body, you are now assimilating their trauma. And I promise you, we have enough of our own without adding theirs.
Right.
So cleaning up that diet is really, really important. Having a big diversity in your plants that you're eating, having them as clean and fresh and live and natural, organic as you can. Getting away from the factory farm foods, boosting your mineral intake, drinking fresh, real water, not tap water, not filtered water, right? Real structured water. We've talked about water before. But all of those things are just really, really important, because we have to get away from the chemicals and from the toxins that are actually holding us down in 3D. That's why they're there. And they're designed to pull us back down into 3D. And we don't want that. So first we need to stay away from them. And that's really what I built the whole Naturally Vibrant You course all about, is cleaning up the body with really natural steps. There's 13 different areas of the body that we go through, sunshine and water and sleep. And we go through all of those different areas to get your body vibrating at a higher frequency, so that you can shift and move and flow with life rather than being bogged down in the chemicals and the yuck.
Yeah, I think it's important that we really pay attention to what we're putting into our body right now, because it is affecting our frequency, and that's been part of the problem all along, is they've kept us in a lower frequency.
Yes.
And if you're not aware of it, you're just going along with the agenda. But now that you have the information, you can make
Right.
a shift.
Right.
Now that you're aware, you can make that shift. You don't have to beat yourself up for what you might have done in the past. It's like, we're in the now. And what can you do right now to shift that frequency? So it's important for you to be paying attention to your physical. What are you putting in your body? To your emotional. How are you feeling? What are the feelings that you're having? Are they bringing you down? Are they lighting you up? What's your spiritual practice? Are you doing meditation? Are you doing yoga? What are you doing?
What are you watching?
What are you watching, right?
All your consumption.
Yeah.
Who are the people around you? Do the people around you inspire you? Do the people around you build you up? Or do the people around you tear you down?
Yeah. Yeah.
And choose. It's not a judgment on them or a judgment on you.
And I think, people maybe don't know what the 5D world looks like. And from my point of view, my perception of it is that it really is the heaven on earth. It is where everybody is at peace. There is no war. There is no famine. Right. Everybody gets to joyfully be together. Money is not an issue. It's not even really a thing.
No.
And that's what we're really having, I think, a hard time getting a hold of, because it's so instilled in us from birth.
Yeah, it's an artificial construct.
Yep, it's an artificial thing. And in 5D, none of this reality that we see right now really exists. And so I want you just to think about that for a little bit. And, what would it be like?
Your currency is going to be your effort. Your currency is going to be your work is your currency. And that's very different than money.
Yeah, it's what you are, how are you helping the world or humanity, right? What is your contribution to humanity? So what are your skills? And we've all been given them, and we're all here for a purpose. And that's what you need to look at. And think about this, if money was not an issue, and you could do whatever you wanted to do, what would you do?
What's your joy?
What's your joy? How would you be helping humanity? What would you be doing?
Right.
How would it make you feel?
Right.
And
My
that,
joy is still the same.
yeah,
My joy is to help people feel better on the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual levels, to help them feel better, because we're still going to need healing. We're still
yeah.
going to need the tools of nature. We're still going to need, because during that transition, nobody knows how to eat right. We think we do. We really don't. Right?
But
It can be something so simple.
we're going to have to relearn a lot of things.
Correct.
And that's what a lot of us are here to do, is to support that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be about the money.
No.
All of the material things will kind of just drop away because they no longer will be important.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole different way of life. So I want you just to take some time and just really think about that concept. And that'll help you, I think, be able to get a better grasp on what does the 5D world really look like.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll be able to say, well, what do I need to let go of? What
Mm-hmm.
will serve me in that world?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'll help a little bit.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I agree.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about, moving from 3D to 5D or whatever that is, put it in the comments and we can make another video. We can address it. We always appreciate your likes. It helps build the algorithms on YouTube.
Yes.
So please like our videos and subscribe so that you get notifications when we're posting something new. We're going to continue on like we've been. We're having a fun time doing it. So I can't wait to move into New Earth energy.
So exciting. And you can always get a hold of us through our Facebook pages. We post those links below. The courses that we talk about, we post those links below. So we try not to hide the information so that you have access to whatever tools that you need that would be supportive.
Yep. It's been wonderful. Have a great rest of your day.